Welcome everybody here to our next webinar here at JFD Bank. My name is Stefan Friedrichowski and a warm welcome in the name of JFD as well as from my end, of course. Today we have the 27th of February 2020, 7 p.m. a good time for the next webinar about trading strategies based on proven matches. Honestly, today's webinar is a little bit different from others I have normally here. Today we have a complete, short and hopefully valuable guideline from the very beginning, from the basics of trading, of CFDs and Forex trading, then about trading platforms, how to perform, to execute trades in the trading platform MetaQuotes 4, or short name is MT4. And finally, we talk about strategies, because we will realize, hey, if it comes to trading, we need trading strategies, and those should have a proven edge. And that is the last topic of today. So it's a complete guide from the very beginning to the final end. A complete trading strategy will be introduced here as well. And what I like to do here is, maybe you're not that familiar with trading, but you may know other, even maybe games like poker or chess or something else. And the good thing is, what you learn about those games, you can even transfer to trading. Because if you think about poker, for example, yeah, that's a game of edge. And in case, for example, you have 4 aces, of course, you have a good edge. No guarantee to that you win the game, but at least a good advantage compared to the normal situation. The same is like trading. We have situations where it's not a good idea to place any order, any trade, but from time to time we have exceptions, and that are the times we should trade. And how to find those? Also that you will learn during this webinar. Okay, hopefully you enjoy. But you know the procedure. Before I really start, I have always to show up the so-called risk disclaimer. Before I do, just keep in mind that you see my email address down here, s.friedrichowski@jfdbank.com. And if you have interest in the later shown Excel sheets, then just drop me a note to that email address, and I make sure that you will have access to those Excel sheets. The slides of today you can already download directly via your GoToWebinar control panel. But even on a later stage, no problem. Once again, drop me a note and I will send the slides to you. We talk about trading, we talk about investment, trading strategies, opening trades, anything like that. But of course, finally, you trade by your own, on your own responsibility, things that is quite self-explaining, but at least I have to mention it anytime or during any webinar. So that's done. Let's have a complete view on the real topics. So we will start what's really behind what's CFD trading and Forex trading. So we have to talk about those things. Contract for differences. That's, by the way, the abbreviation CFD. And Forex trading. Maybe you're not that familiar with those things. Let me give you quite short introduction about that. And then let's directly jump into the trading platform first. Open a trade just by gut feeling, nothing else. But you will see and learn how to open and close trades in the trading platform MT4, which is used with JFD. There are other platforms as well, but MT4 is the one. Yeah, most of all people use. At least I think so. Then it comes really to trading, and I have a statement. I repeat that statement in any webinar and any seminar or talk. no trade without edge. So if I want to open a trade, I should know what is my probability to finally have a winning trade. Of course, I know, and you know as well, there's no guarantee for any trade that this will be a winner. Definitely no, but at least we should have a probability, a known probability for that. And if we don't have an edge, we should not open that trade. So that's really quite important, and that's the reason why I always emphasize that kind of statement. And um, one example will be power candles today. So power candles are candles with a specific characteristic. Big candles, you will learn. Big candle bodies, you will learn what that means. And even more, we will investigate that kind of power candles just by Excel and learn, is there an edge and how to trade? And that can even be derived via Excel. And that is part of today's webinar as well. And then, since now we know a little bit more, we can use our experience from power candles and go back to the trading platform. And that will give you one tool in order to trade power candles quite effectively. And it's really just a trick, but you will learn that as well. And finally, if you think, oh, that's all too complicated, or even I want to start, but I will do, but still I would like to invest already a little bit, I will briefly touch JFD Invest as well, which is a digital wealth management platform, and I will show you a little bit about that as well. When it comes to trading, especially here at JFD, we have to talk about CFD trading and Forex trading. It's not the only part you can do at JFD. You can trade stocks as well or cryptos. You can trade via CFDs once again. Okay. But what's really behind? Maybe you know already a little bit about investment or other investment classes. You may have a depository by your bank, and you may have stocks, or you may have funds, or even so-called ETFs, exchange traded funds. But anyhow, so you may have those things already, and you are invested in those. So of course, that is one thing you can do, and that's a perfect choice. So no, nothing against that, of course. But everything what you do there is always a little bit more long term. I would assume you don't buy a stock today and sell it tomorrow, buy others tomorrow, sell them as a day after tomorrow, and so on and so forth. No, that is more a long-term investment. When it comes to CFD and Forex trading, still you can do it on long-term as well, no question. But it's a little bit more meant for short-term day or even intraday activities. But if you trade it on a weekly basis, also that's definitely fine with me and fine with you as well. What you do there is you do not really buy, for example, one stock of company Apple. No, what you trade is price differences, and that's what stands behind CFD, contract for differences. You will see that in a minute, what that really means. Just to trade the differences, which is good, because think about, you want to buy a single stock, and the price for that stock is $100. Okay, you buy that, but you know what's always good is to set a stop loss. So a level, if the price of that company hits that level, then it should be automatically sold. Okay, what you can do, Edward, which is really a brilliant idea. But think about, we would buy the stock for 100, would set the stop loss level at 80. Unfortunately, it would be better if we just trade the price difference, because from our available capital when we buy that one stock. The $100 are gone. But we know that we set a stop loss at 80, so it should be only worth $20 from that trade, because we know that when it comes to 80, then we sell. That you can do with CFDs, more or less. That finally means we are talking about what is called leveraged trading. So there's a leverage, and that you will see later in my demo account. And hopefully, maybe you have a demo account opened already, or even a live account. But just to get practice, I always recommend going for a demo account first. What you finally do is, and the wording is really serious. What you do is a bet, nothing else. You bet on increasing or decreasing prices. And that is called long or short trade. So a long trade is always a bet on increasing prices, and a short trade, what you can do here, you can bet on decreasing prices as well. So you have always the opportunity to open a long or a short trade. Just a quick example, and the numbers are from yesterday when I prepared the German webinar. At that time, at 7 o'clock in the morning, the DAX was at 12,702 points. And if I would have opened a short trade, at 7 a.m. with just one lot, and we have to talk about lots later once again, just 1 hour and 10 minutes later, the price of the DAX was already at 12,414, so 288 points lower. Since I would have opened a short trade, that would be 288 euros. And one reason behind that is, of course, the 288 points. But if you trade the DAX at JFD, 1 point equals €1. Be always careful. There are different brokers, and others, they have other pricings. So the point value is not always the same for different brokers. Just keep it in mind. Honestly, the trade is not already perfect, because one thing you have to keep in mind, of course, it's lucky that we would have earned 288 euros just in a little bit more than one hour. But if the price would have increased instead, the trade would have been a loss. Same amount, 288 euros, if the price would have increased by 288 points. You see, there's a risk. So risk is definitely involved. There's another thing you have to keep in mind. That is, there are always additional costs, and in two kinds, finally in three, but the third one is a little bit more complicated. I keep that for another webinar. So we have additional costs. One is commission. So just opening a trade, you have to pay money. But the good thing is, if you trade CFDs or if you trade Forex, then it's always scalable. So there's no minimum fee what you might have when you buy stocks at your bank. It scales with the lot size, linear. So there's no base fees or something like that. So that's the one thing. And there's a price difference for selling and buying, which is just called the bid-ask spread. Just as an example for the DAX, let's think the DAX is at 12,000 points, and that's the number you see in the chart. If you go long with the DAX, and the DAX is at 12,000 points, you will realize that you paid 12,001. So there's a +1. And if you in the next millisecond sell it, you will get back the 12,000. So the loss is already 1 point. And that is exactly the spread. And it works in both directions. You have the bid price and the ask price. You always buy on the ask price and you sell on the bid price. price. I know it's always a little bit complicated, but what I use is just, I always know the ask is higher than the bid, and then you can explain by yourself all the rest. But that was a little bit complicated, maybe. Therefore, let's do a practical exercise, just going directly into the trading platform. Because if you want to trade, okay, at your bank account, you may buy stocks directly. But if you trade CFDs, then you use a quite cool trading platform. And in this case, with JFD, you can have, for example, MT4 or MT5. There's another one as well. You can use both, and it looks more or less like what you have on my screen here. That trading platform is used for more or less two things. One is to visualize the price moves by charts, and that's what you see. You see two charts here on my screen. And the other thing is, yeah, you want to execute trades, buying, selling, whatever. And we will do that in a second here. So generally, you see the price and you see a chart, and those charts are normally, most people use so-called candlestick charts, what is used here as well. And those candles, they illustrate a certain time period. And in my case, it's H1. H stands for hour, so 1 hour. So one candle represents 1 hour, and that representation is done with 4 values. Let me enlarge it here a little bit, and then I would just want to show one candle here, and let's go for this one here. You see, it's a green candle, so that means it's a so-called long candle. The price went up during that hour, so that means the open of the candle is here. The close of the candle is here. And you see two lines here. So there has been a high during that 1 hour, which has been here, and a low, which has been here. So 4 numbers characterize any candle: the open, high, low, and the close. 4 numbers for one candle. And in this case, it's 1 hour. What you can do is, for example, you can change the time frame. You can change, for example, to D1. D1 means daily one, so 1 day. One candle is 1 day. Different picture, just because changing the so-called time frame. Or you might go down the road, for example, M5, 5 minutes. Now any candle represents 5 minutes. That's about candles. And you see, we have 2 charts here, one for the DAX and one for Euro US dollar. You see, I have other symbols here as well. So if I want to have another currency pair, not Euro US dollar, I can just take that and drag and drop it here, and then the chart is a new one. Now US dollar, Japanese yen. Let me go back to Euro US dollar. Or you may want to have additional charts, then you just do right mouse click here, new chart window, and you get another one. So you can have as many as you want. That's about a quick introduction about what you can do with the charts. There are a lot of more things, even changing the colors as a right click into the chart window, and then going for properties, and then you can change anything. For example, the color that I have green color for long candles is just my choice. And now I want to open a trade, and just that you see how that works. We see the Euro US dollar went up. Okay, let's think that was it. I want to open a short trade. Why not? And how to do that is really easy. You just do a right mouse click into the charting window, and then you go for trading, and then new trade. Sorry that everything is here in German, but it's in English available as well. And besides the fact that you can just do it as we speak, so right now, or you can do other kind of orders like sell limit, stop limit, and so on and so forth. But that's a little bit more complicated. Let's don't do it right now. What I just want to do is I want to sell. Okay, but first thing, look for the volume. And I just start with the smallest available volume, which is 0.01. And that is always in terms of lots. So 0.01 is my volume of choice. And I said, okay, I'm against the market and I sell. Let me do it. It's done. And now you will see that during the price changes, you see that we might have profit or losses now as we speak. But there's another thing I want to share with you. You see something which is called margin here, and that is €2.50. Okay, now it's a good thing. If I would have bought one lot, what you finally do is if you buy one lot Forex, Euro, US dollar, it would be like you trade 100,000 euros. Wow. And that was an account of 10k euros. That's cool. And that's exactly the leverage. Trading a 0.01 costs me, or I have to place a margin of 2.4 euros. A one lot trade requires a margin of 250 euros. Okay, no problem. I can even play around with 100,000 euros, and the margin requirement is just 250 euros. Okay, good to know. And the difference is exactly the leverage. Now, as we speak, we see that the trade might be positive or negative. Let's keep it running. Always, it's good to have a so-called stop loss. So something that the trade will be closed automatically without I'm directly in front of my computer. It's quite easy to do. Just place a line here by drag and drop, and I go here above the latest high, and I place a take profit level. Let's go here, and that's all. And you can see with the mouse over functionality, the euro amounts of those two levels. The take profit is at €4.23, and the stop loss is at there we are, €2.20. So you see, we have now the two levels. That's always good, especially the stop loss is very important to have that. That's all. That's how you can place trades. You can close them. You can open new ones. It's really easy. You can do everything directly out of the chart. So it's quite convenient to do it in that way. So that's really easy. You see on the opposite side, I have the DAX chart, and just as a quick, I want to place an order here as well. And let me place here, once again, a short trade, quite easy, same procedure, just a new trade. And then I go once again for the minimum lot size, which is 0.1 for the DAX. And in this case, I want to sell again. Now I'm with the market, so to say, because you see the price went south already for a longer time, and I place my stop loss quite easy, as you remember, just by drag and drop out of the green one here, and I place a take profit, for example, here. Okay, that's all. Trade is running. Let's have a view on the stop loss in euros just by the mouse over functionality. Okay, it's now 20 euros for that trade. Just that we don't know that. That's a short introduction to the MT4 platform. But now let's go back, because what we did is really not the real way of trading. I just opened 2 trades without any edge, because okay, I might think that euro US dollar should go south now, or I might think that the DAX should go further south now. But you see, it's more just like a feeling. There's no proven edge for my opinion, so we need something like that. Before I do that, just a short recap what you can trade else. Beside CFD and Forex, what we did in the chart, you can trade physical stocks, that's JFD as well, and you can trade even cryptos, so better to say CFDs on cryptos like Bitcoin or Ripple. You can trade here as well directly out of the chart as seen for euro, US dollar, and the DAX trade. But now let's go a little bit further, because I have the clear statement, no trade without edge. But we need to come to the source of edges. So how to develop those, how to derive it. Let me start a little bit earlier. Thinking about trading means, now, if you don't have any commission, so no costs, no spreads, no commission, nothing like that, then going long or short is more or less nothing else than a coin flip. We could even do it and then enter the trade long or short. But, and in this case, we would know what's called the expectation value, and that would be 0. There's no, on a long term, there's, no, just the 50-50 and nothing else. But now, since we have commissions and spreads, we definitely will lose statistically always. At least if we just do a coin flip. It's a little bit similar to the roulette table, because you can put your money on black or red, but there's one additional color or number, which is the 0. So that's what I call a symmetry break. And if the 0 comes, everybody lose. Therefore, that's quite comparable to commissions and spread. So therefore, it's not a coin flip. You will lose. Finally, and always, if you play roulette. It's really quite easy from a mathematical point of view. So therefore, at least, we need an edge, because even the 50-50 is not enough, because it's a 0 game. But we have spreads and commission, so we finally definitely need an edge. Let's think a little bit different about trading and edges. You may know other games, and as I mentioned already, if you have 4 aces at a poker table, then you definitely have an advantage, but still no guarantee that you will win that game, because there are other combinations which are higher than 4 aces, but at least you definitely have an advantage. So, and that is a real edge. Or think about playing chess. If you would move the farmer from A2 to A4 as being your opening move, nobody would do that, because there's no edge behind that move. You can analyze that statistically, or just talk to professionals in chess. There is no edge for that move, so you will not do it. And let's stick to chess games. in general, to sacrifice a figure is not a good idea. Normally, there is give you no advantage. Sometimes, indeed, it will do, but in general, no. There's no advantage, no edge with sacrificing any figure. Or just another game, and at least it's quite popular in Germany, which is called Skat. If you do have 4 farmers in your hand, then in most cases, that's definitely a big advantage. In most cases. Once again, no guarantee. So looking to those games is a story of edges as well. If we go back to the chessboard, you may do moves which provide you an edge within the next 10 moves. And even that people have in mind doing the next move on a chessboard. So that's playing around with edges as well. It's more sometimes just the opposite. So not entering any disadvantage. But we can compare trading in those games quite well because everything is a story around edges. The good thing edges for trading is that we know historical price data. And since we know the historical price data, we can play around in those historical data in order to find edges. Besides, we still know some other edges in general. For example, trading stocks has an edge on the long side. Buy is for stocks a brilliant idea, proven since more than not only a decade, since more than a century, that this is a good idea, and people like Warren Buffett, they became quite rich with that kind of strategy and some additional elements. But anyhow, or you may use technical analysis in order to find your edges by looking for formations in the chart, for example, or more or less technical analysis was once again looking to historical price moves and coming to some conclusions. Or we talk about power candles, what we will do in a second. Since I mentioned no trade without edge, we should find those. And always, what is the source for those things? And even for me, the sources starting point is always observations in the chart. So I think, hey, look, when the DAX goes up on Friday, it goes down on Monday. Don't take it serious. It's just as an example. But maybe we think, hey, there's a correlation with those 2 days. But now we can do that kind of investigation in historical price data. And we start with an hypothesis for that advantage. And then we do an investigation, a proof in the historical data. And if we don't find that edge, if we don't find that proof, we should not trade that idea. Just that you know where to find historical data, 3 sources, Yahoo Finance, Dukascopy, and Stock, and that is not a spelling error. No, it's written like that. And then you can download historical price data. The first and the last one only for D1 daily data, but for Dukascopy you can download even smaller time frames as well. So let's now move to power candles. From time to time, we find huge candles. For example, let me go back to the chart here, and we may think, okay, that's the H1 chart. We have a huge candle here, and then the price went further north. We have a huge candle here, which is an upside candle. Price moves north once again. Do I have an opposite, a good example? Semi-huge candle in red. Here, price went down for the next couple of candles. So that is the hypothesis. Huge candle, and the price follows the same direction for the next few candles. That's an idea. And now let's try to prove it. But first, a few other statements about those huge candles. I've done more investigations than just the one I will share with you in a minute. What turned out is that those huge candles, they show up too frequently in terms of compared to just random behavior. And that's good, because whenever we have a deviation from randomness, that is a good hint that this is a trading opportunity. And that is quite serious statement. The deviation from randomness is our trading chance. But now back to power candles. We define those power candles as a power candle just by looking for the candle body. And the candle body is exactly going back here, the difference between open and close. For example, if I go for this candle here, I will wait a second that you see my cursor exactly at the right position. So if I go to this candle here, then you will see, okay, the candle is huge, but the candle body is not that huge. So therefore, I only talk about power candles if the candle body is really big. And yeah, our hypothesis is the power candle, after such a power candle, the price moves into the direction of the power candle. So a long power candle will be followed long, and a short power candle will be followed short. And now the good thing is we can just investigate that directly, for example, in Excel. And just that you know what you see here. I will not go into all the details, but you can have if you like. And what we have here, starting with the first couple of columns here, is just historical price data. I have downloaded those at Dukascopy, and in this case it's H1 data. And as you can see, if I jump to the very end of the table, you see, okay, that's more than 100,000 entries. So we have 100,000 candles. Any candle has a couple of numbers, date, time, open price, high price, low price, close price. And now we can go for our power candles. And it's quite convenient here to do that kind of investigation just in Excel, just calculating the difference between close and open. And if that value is exceeding a certain threshold, the absolute value, and the threshold is the one here in yellow, if that is that condition is fulfilled, hey, then I get a mark here into just a one, and I have another calculation whether the power candle is a long or a short power candle with a -1 or +1. And now what I do is I just look for the next couple of candles. So if you see, I calculate the percentage move one candle into the future, 2 candles into the future, 4, 5 candles into the future. As you see the colored cells here. Yeah, that's the future. And that's everything is calculated with the right sign. So after a short power candle, I expect a short movement. And after a long power candle, I expect a long movement. I use the right signs. And then you can create the average over all power candles. And in this case, I use a threshold with 0.002, or people who are more familiar with Forex, they would call that 20 bips, because bips for any not Japanese yen Forex pair is on the fourth digit. So here we have a 20, starting from the perspective of the fourth digit, so 20 bips. You see that this happens 12,000 times in my last 16 years. So you remember we have 100,000 candles. So our percentage-wise, it's 12% of all candles would fulfill that condition. And now you see we have such a average movement after the occurrence of such a power candle. Maybe that's already a trading edge. If you see a few candles stable, and then we have a maximum at after 10 candles into the direction of the power candle. Okay, that's already something we learn here. Now let's change the threshold. So when we call it a power candle, and you see it needs a few seconds to do the calculation, and then we go for that, and you see, hey, that looks even better. Now we have 40 bips as being a power candle. We have only close to 3% of all candles fulfill that condition. And that is a typical price movement for Euro, US dollar. And the x-axis here are just hours. So that's good to know. I've done a few steps more, just that you see what happens with 20 bips, 40 bips, the 2-1 we have had already, and 60 bips. Now the probability goes more and more down that we get such power candles. But you see, the best one is at 40 bips. So what does it mean? If a power candle, if a candle body is exceeding the 40 bips, we should open a trade into the direction of the power candle. And then we have an edge that that edge is at least statistically proven with our investigation. It's not meaning that always it's like that, but statistically we can see it quite well here. But now let's transfer our knowledge and let's go back to the chart, because then I promised already you will learn one short trick. But first of all, of course, I look to my 2 trades and I see, okay, overall I've earned already some money here. My Euro US dollar trade is slightly minus, but my DAX trade going short is positive. And just that you see how easy it is to close those trades directly out of the chart, for example, then just a right mouse click on the green line, close, and the trade is gone. You directly see in my terminal window trade is closed, and I do the same with the DAX. Now I use another possibility to close the trade within the terminal window. You can just press the X, and then the trade is closed. Done. By the way, funny enough, with yesterday's webinar and today's webinar here, I have earned already 12 euros just in a few minutes as we speak. So not that bad in those few minutes. Remember, I could have used higher lot sizes, then everything would be scaled, but not that bad. But now back to the story of power candles. The downside is we have to measure those candles. Is that candle exceeding the 40 bips? And even historically, that doesn't count. I need to know at the very end of the candle, is the candle just exceeding my 40 bip criterion? And then opening the trade directly as we speak. So, but it's quite easy. What we can do is we can use some forms, and one form we can draw here is a rectangle, and I will do. And so I will just first do it here, then I will manipulate that rectangle in order to have a rectangle which is exactly 40 bips, and that's what I want to use. So now let's make story first a little bit easier. Let's have one corner at 1.1 and the other corner at 1.096. And now we have the 40 bips, the 0.004, and we have a rectangle with exactly that size. And now we have a perfect scale, and we can put that scale already to the ongoing candle, and then we can directly see whether that candle would fulfill the criterion. So that candle will last additional 15 minutes. So it would have to go up to here, and then it will fulfill my criterion of being a power candle, and then going long in this case, because from here I would not expect that it will go totally down to south from the last 15 minutes, but you'd never know. But we could just use that rectangle, that we have a scale within our chart, and then we have it visualized whether the candle is fulfilling our power candle criteria. Hey, that's cool. So it's really easy, and we can use that. You may investigate other pairs if you like, and you will find similar thresholds, and so you can use it even for other pairs as well, and even for the DAX if you like. But you have to do it differently because 40 bips is nothing for the DAX chart. Then you should use a percentage-wise power candle definition, because as you know, today the DAX is around 12,000 points. A couple of years ago it was at 6,000. So doing it in a fixed size would be not a good idea. What has been a power candle 10 years ago is not a power candle anymore today, because the DAX is maybe 3 times as high as at that time. So, but anyhow, that's how you can use power candles directly in the chart to identify those and then opening trades if you like. That's really trading, and that is trading live. And you may get used to the trading platform, and then you can do it quite fast if you like, and yeah, and open your own trades. Maybe you use power candle edges, or you find others, but always look for edges before entering trades. Technical analysis, for example, gives you good examples of where to open trades, but don't do it just by gut feeling. At least that's what I would not do. If you like the idea of trading, but you are not that experienced, okay, you may start with a demo account. And just one other recommendation about demo accounts: it's always funny that you can open demo accounts with more or less any amount of money within the account. Even $1 million is no problem. I would always recommend use a demo account of the same size you intend to open a live account, a real account, because then you are used to the right numbers and lot sizes. It's funny, okay, to play around in $1 million account, but if you don't intend to open such an account, just use the right size. Anyhow, but if you think, hey, I will train myself with a demo account, but I want to see some live trades as well, maybe JFD Invest is a good idea for you as well. It's quite convenient. As I mentioned, JFD Invest is something like a digital wealth management platform. So what you do there is that trades are copied directly into your JFD Invest account. So you have a separate account, a JFD Invest account. And there are ongoing and pre-selected trading strategies that has been done directly at JFD from professional traders. And those trades, which are normally in those accounts of those professional traders, they are directly copied into your account according to your own preferences. So that's cool. And you see, okay, there are already some numbers about returns. Let's have a quick view directly on the platform, because then it's a little bit bigger than on my slides. And that's just here on the home page at JFD Invest. And if I go there, oh, that's still German. That I can switch to English. Sorry for that. That's now here, and you see those strategies are double-digit growth numbers, and there's risk involved. You may learn about that as well. But that is what you can, or what those traders have achieved with their trading accounts. Those are the master accounts. And now it's up to you. You may follow a single one or just a portfolio. You see what you finally do? You act as a portfolio manager, and that's really a quite cool job. So you select trading strategies to your preferences, and what it means, find that match between your preferences and those strategies. I will show you in a minute. And then you say, okay, I follow this one and that one. Perfect. How to do? Quite simple. 4 steps necessary. First is you open a JFD Invest profile. That is only a registration process you can do anytime, no money involved. Then you may open a JFD Invest account. Then you combine the two, and then you can follow those professional traders. And just as you see a little bit how it works, we can use already the guest access here, and then you see a little bit more about those trading strategies. And one of those is, by the way, even power candles, which is called here PowerFX. Okay, it's not, the return is not that high, but PowerFX is indeed doing power candles, by the way. But you see other trading strategies with higher returns, for example, but with higher risk. That is the last column here. That is a little bit like the risk. But what I just want to recommend you is always go first and have a review on those. So just click them, and then you can see the growth over the since inception date. This one here, for example, is almost 2 years old now. You see the returns which have been achieved here with drawdowns, and then it's up to you. You may like it, you may not like it. You say, okay, no, I don't want to have drawdowns like this one. That's too heavy. Then go for another one. But it's really quite convenient. So your job here is review process of those strategies and then selecting to your own preferences. And that's the job of a portfolio manager. So you don't open them individual trades. No, that's everything's done directly at JFD. Those trades are copied into your account, nothing else. And you cannot really play around with those trades, because the only thing you can do is you can start following a trading strategy or stopping, but not just playing around with the single trades. But anyhow, that's something you will see with those trades. So you get a feeling of what other people are doing, and hopefully you already earn some money with that trade copy activity. That is JFD Invest. So it's quite convenient for, especially if you are not that familiar already with trading. That was really a 1 hour quick story all around trading. So let me summarize a little bit what you have learned just within that 1 hour. I think trading is really a quite interesting investment approach. Still, the others are valid by themselves. Of course, investing in stocks, funds, ETFs, why not? But that is more really long term. You think in more in years. But trading is then you are more involved if you really trade CFDs, forex trades like we did here today. So it's a quite cool thing to do that. It's really easy to execute, as you have seen in the trading platform MT4. Directly out of the chart we can open the trades, we can play around with stop loss and take profits, we can move them within the chart even. So everything is really convenient and easy, but there is a risk involved. As I mentioned with my DAX trade, the one short, was perfect. 288 points in a little bit more than 1 hour. But maybe the market would have went north. Then it would have been a losing trade. So there's risk involved. I just want to mention that as well. What I personally do is I only trade if I know for that kind of trade there is an edge. I do investigations in order to derive edges, like in our case today, power candles. But I need to know that there is an edge if I follow that kind of trading setup. If I know that edge, then I'm willing to open those trades. If I don't know the edge, I don't open the trade. Gut feeling is not my personal trading approach. What we have seen that even within Excel, you can prove for power candles that they have an impressive edge. In our case, Euro US dollar H1 hour 1 hour chart, a 40 bip was a good threshold. So if a candle would exceed that one, I can expect that the price is following into the direction of the power candle. So going into the same direction. Long is followed by long, so going north. And short power candle is followed short, going south. Hey, that is an edge, and we can use that. And finally, if you are more interested in a little bit more passive way, but still acting as a portfolio manager, maybe JFD Invest is a good choice for you, because that is a digital wealth management platform, and everything is done directly at a JFD, and the only thing you need is access to the internet, and then even on holidays, on vacation, you can stop any trading strategies, jump into a new one, no problem, just access to the internet, and then you can do that kind of portfolio management job. As I mentioned, if you have interest in slides and you want to have those slides or those Excel sheets for investigation of power candles, you can have them. Just drop me a note to s.friedrichowski@jfdbank.com. I hope you enjoyed the evening. You got a short and quick overview from the very beginning of trading to the execution of a trading strategy like power candles. If you try more by your own, hey, a demo account is a good first choice. And if you are familiar with everything, why not go live as well? But of course, everything is up to you. Enjoy your time and see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.